SaCrEd LiGhT Community Nightcap. Special QHHT Quantum Hypnosis Therapy Session. We are going to explore this wonderful multidimensional practice with our SaCrEd guest, SaCrEd Kingdom community member, multifaceted, certified hypnotherapist, Derrick Ivey. Tap in and tune in to the Nightcap Lounge.
My third eye's open, I can see past the commotion. I can't get lost in the moment. Yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah. My third eye open, I can see past the commotion. Yeah. I live on the side with the chosen. Higher dimensions we going. Yeah. I'm guaranteed to check like TSA. One in a million like a
Oh man, another beautiful day, I would have to say. How's everybody tonight that is tapped in and tuned in for this wonderful edition of the SaCrEd LiGhT Community Nightcap? And I am your host, Marcus Crystallite, founder of SaCrEd LiGhT Healing and Wellness. And thank you to all of you that are watching, participating, and being a part of this space tonight as we are live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you guys haven't yet, subscribe, like, follow, share this content as we are going to explore the extraordinary topic of QHHT, Quantum Hypnosis Healing Therapy. And to help us explore and unravel this miraculous multidimensional practice, we are going to be joined by a wonderful SaCrEd guest who is also a part of the wonderful SaCrEd Kingdom community that I'm a part of. And before we move into that, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a nice little recap on where we were last week in this Nightcap Lounge that had to deal with the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, as we were in tablet number 2. So I'll go ahead and rewind this back to last week before we step into this current space of QHHT, just to give you guys a little recap of what last week's episode was.
My third eye's open, I can see past the commotion. I can't get lost in the moment. Yeah.
The card that we pulled is Amenta, the Halls of Amenti. And the tablet that we're exploring is Amenti. All right, thank you. Yep. Okay. Well, it looks like the local jazz band is not going to be performing tonight any longer. We have decided to change the vibration tonight. Yashuna isitia usayashtia imeyasata utua imeyasutua iyashi. This is what it looks like for everybody out there. And I can link it for you guys as well. I'll go ahead and put the. It is replicated with a microcosmic personal tree of life, the 12 tree grid. Individual human anatomy manifest upon and within the multidimensional layers instructed by the core manifestation template So that was last week on the nightcap, and we explored tablet number 2 of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. And now, without further ado, mid-ship in my mouth, it's time for our sacred guest of the nightcap, the wonderful, multifaceted practitioner and certified hypnotherapist, Derrick Ivey. Welcome.
Hey, Christo, thank you so much for having me on the nightcap tonight. I was looking forward to this for several days at least since last week. I think it was when you invited me to come on. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. It's an honor to have you. And, you're a very well-versed, multifaceted practitioner of holistic and quantum healing. So, it's really a beautiful gift to be able to have you in the space tonight, to be able to talk about this very extraordinary multidimensional practice that we have called QHHT. And to kind of kick us off and break open the ice about this wonderful topic, do you feel open to share a little bit about your story, your pathway, and maybe a little bit of insight into what your life was like when you came across QHHT, and what kind of impact and relationship you developed with this practice in the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. So it wasn't actually QHHT that got me into the spiritual realms and self-development realms, things of that nature. It was more of a journey where I had to do something. I was at a point in my life that I really couldn't go on living the way that I was living. So at that point, one thing led to another, and I ended up as a quantum hypnotherapist. But if you would have asked me even 10 years ago, if I would be into the quantum realms and doing quantum healing, I don't think I would have really believed that at all. So I originally did Vipassana meditation when I was in my early 20s, and I meditated for hours and hours all the time. As soon as I discovered meditation, I couldn't get enough of it, and I was, that was my happy place. That was where I found bliss. But then I was kind of ignoring other things in my life at that point. I hadn't yet learned balance, but that led me to this world because I went through a journey in myself with recovery and substance use disorder. I was a hardcore alcoholic at about age 21, and that was already beginning to affect my life. The meditation was the only way I could see my way starting to get out of it. I went to a lot of different 12-step groups and I learned a lot. And then I was well, I was really unhappy at my career at the time, so I really wanted to help other people, and so that led me into the world of psychology and addiction counseling. I went to addiction counseling school back in 2015. but then it's like, that's not really what I wanted to do at the end of the day, because I wanted to work with people that really enjoyed like the journey of seeing how deep they could take consciousness, right? And so yeah, that's what drove me into this world, is like I kept wanting to take myself deeper. Like I had heard these, I think it was like a Zen or some type of Buddhist meditation teacher was talking about, like you never arrive, like you're always continually going to deeper and deeper levels. And that fascinated me, and I always wanted that. Like I was never the type of person that was just a like surface level, like talking about the weather. Like I wanted to go deep and talk about things that were happening on a global scale, or spiritual things, or like the meaning of life and existence. So when I found out addiction counseling wasn't really going to be my path, then that's what kind of led me into hypnotherapy. A few years later, I went to a hypnotherapy institute in Golden, Colorado, here where I live, and the school is now retired. But that really got my foot in the door, and then I started studying transpersonal hypnotherapy, which is based on transpersonal psychology. I studied alchemal hypnotherapy, and then that got me into the quantum realms, and I've taken several different quantum regression trainings and things of that nature. And yeah, it just really became a huge passion for me when I saw like the results people were getting in their lives. And I was like, there's no way that people don't know about this. Like, how are there people that are not doing this? Like, once I saw how much it changed my own life. I had debilitating OCD at the time. I was just like completely a mess. And quantum hypnotherapy was the only thing that really gave me that true feeling like I got cleaned out the energy that was disrupting my life for good, and actually started gaining some traction. And then I just, that's what I did ever since. I quit my job back in years ago, and then I've been doing this ever since. Like the universe has always kept me doing it, so there's no doubt in my heart and mind how powerful this is, and like how much this changes lives. Being able to see things in different ways and reclaim aspects of the self that feel lost or fractured off or forgotten. So that's kind of a lot, but yeah, that's what brought me here.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And to kind of dive even more into what you gave us, I know you had mentioned something about recovery and addiction. Is there anything that you feel? Is there anything that you feel compelled to share regarding how QHHT had helped you with addiction?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that going into the quantum realms to really explore the root. It really gave me that opportunity to actually go to the root of the issue. And I think that's something that was really missing from my life for so long, is I had this hole in the soul, and I kept drinking and doing all kinds of drugs to cover that over and not feel it and kind of sidestep the pain. And I think in the quantum hypnotherapy, and also I want to clarify, like, QHHT itself is like its own technique, and there's quantum hypnotherapy beyond that also. And I studied more in the transpersonal and alchemal realms of hypnotherapy. And I think for me, what it was is, like, I'd never actually taken the step back and saw the entire energy of the situations that I found myself in again and again. It was like I was just getting pulled around, and this took me into a state where I could actually be the observer and not have to figure everything out anymore. Like I could just lean back and watch what was happening. And I started to see life as more of like a video game, I guess. Yeah, because it just showed me so many things that I couldn't unsee. Like, I found out truths about myself, about life, about the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, like, there's a lot of profound messages that come through these sessions, and you can communicate. There's so many different beings in there. Like, you can, like, just on Tuesday, I communicated with this really tall, luminous light being that didn't have a physical body, but was just this luminous light being, and so much love just pouring and emanating from this being, and handed me this ring that was like turquoise and pink, and like it had a pearl in the center, and it like emanated all of these frequencies out, and it's like kind of showing us different things we can do with energy or consciousness. And I think, like, since I've always been such a deep person, like, I never got bored with this stuff, and I actually could be calm enough to go through the traumas and re-update that information and all of that. Have you ever done a lot of quantum hypnosis, Marcus?
So, and I don't know why, but my internet's pretty choppy on this side, but I will
I think it's
work
kind
with
of
it. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's like a bigger issue than us at this point, and yeah, I always trust that, the guides will help us out there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, for me. So it's a pretty unique experience for me. Really know about hypnosis in depth, or about QHHT, up until about maybe 2.5 years ago. And before I even discovered what QHHT was, I was already doing guided meditations with people. But the way that I was doing my guided meditations was structured like a hypnosis session. And I never even knew that until I learned about QHHT. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like literally just about doing the same exact things as QHHT without intentionally doing that. And but with that, I then still never experienced it. I definitely understand it and knew about it. And I actually developed my own authentic practice that my own higher self taught me. And it is the service that I call today, which is the Soul Origin Galactic Therapy meditations that I offer. And what that is basically like a mix between hypnosis, guided meditation, and then I also do Reiki and light language. And I mix them all together into basically a therapeutic setting, meditation.
Yeah, those are some powerful sessions.
And I actually just did one earlier today. I had to actually think about when, because I've been so far out of time. And it was earlier today.
It's like your human.
It's really beautiful, and it's a service that I offer. I had a session earlier, and basically, what's that?
Oh, I just said your human. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
But your human kind of.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think there's a delay, maybe. But yeah, I can hear you.
Wow, man. What is going on? Okay.
I have full bars on my end.
Yeah, I don't know why, man. It always does this on my side every once in a while.
Yeah, it happens.
And there's like nothing I can really do about it. But
that's okay, you know.
Yeah, what I was saying is, you know, this bad, we might have to just cancel this, honestly. Jeez.
Yeah, if you can't hear anything.
Wow. I don't know what the heck's going on. Maybe I'll move locations.
I wonder if we turn your videos off.
I'll sit where I've been sitting this time doing my lives. Technical difficulties, everybody.
Never fails when I think the guides like to play with us sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like they want us to not take our
the energies of the collective in a new moon planet.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we got lots of energies coming in right now. We got the new moon, we got the planet
Yeah,
retrograde.
it's
Got Venus
intense.
retrograde in Aries on Saturday. Lots of stuff going on in the air. But
Oh yeah.
let's see if this location will help. This is where I do lives every day. Dang, man. Okay. I'll try to get through this again. If I can't even get through this part, then I think it might be best to reschedule this. But
Yeah, I understand.
Basically, I developed my own authentic practice and then Reiki and light language. And wow. The main premises of the practice is to help people become aware of and uncover their soul origin. And then through that, if I'm intuitively guided by the higher self, I will then also guide us through an experience that allows the other person that's receiving to be able to connect and receive the codes and the messages from their higher self to help them uniquely uncover their soul origin. And with that, I can also be guided to take them to other planetary incarnations that they've had, or they may need to receive fractures of their soul. Or on the other side of the contrast, it could be that they are going to activate and wake up dormant parts of their DNA that have the gifts of those lifetimes or star systems that they're from.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about my version that I authentically serve. And I did experience my first QHHT session just a few months ago. And I connected with and channeled the 12th dimensional Lyran Council, as well as the
Oh wow.
the Yeshua Council as well. So that was very intriguing. And another thing that was really intriguing was that I have done so much work with myself daily that I'm pretty much almost in hypnosis daily on my own.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Like
it
I'm
does.
naturally in tune with those higher aspects of myself.
I would
So
say
it was
I'm
really
very
interesting.
similar.
Like a lot of the information. Oh man, this glitch.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that to close that out, I'm just gonna say that it just really showed me a lot about where I was with myself and that I wasn't that far off from being
Yeah.
connected with my higher self daily.
Totally. Yeah, and that it's so good to realize that and know that you're on the right path and know that you're planting the right seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. So
And yeah, I'm the same way.
with I was gonna ask you, what's some of your most extraordinary experiences, or what are some of your own profound experiences from receiving that you feel called to share?
So for me, I've had some real powerful experiences, and I think one that really stands out to me is, and this goes back to addiction. Back in this lifetime that I was in, like sometime back in the 1800s, and there was like a cobblestone walkway, and this was the life I was in, and I was in this village, and my soul was in a woman's body in that lifetime, and and I had caught all of these fish, and I was hoarding all of these fish where I lived in that lifetime, and keeping other people from having food to eat. And like, that was something that really shook me, because I saw how my addiction was like that, where when I was in my active addiction and doing all kinds of wild things, I was always feeling like I could never get enough. Like, there's this insatiable desire for more, and more and more than you need, like kind of greed. Or so it really taught me a lot, because then I saw how I was kind of like that about a few things, and so it really gave me perspective to shift that and not have to keep staying in those patterns in this lifetime. And thank God that I did, because then I got sober and my life is a lot better now, and I have a lot healthier ways of dealing with things and seeing things, and then I can use that experience to help others.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And congratulations on your sobriety and your continuance of moving forward. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
It's it's a very powerful thing to be a living testimony of these practices, because we live in a world where these practices are pretty much kind of labeled alternative, or they have no basis, or they have no real science or anything behind them, quote unquote, when in actuality they have all these things, and all of these things are available to be able to see and sense when it comes to these practices. So it's really important that people like yourself and me and others, that we're voicing the truth about our experiences, the wisdom, what these practices are in detail, so that people can really have a real understanding of what these are and why they can potentially not just help them heal, but also activate and wake you up to parts of yourself that are connected to the divinity that you may never even fathom before. And it's pretty extraordinary. Like, if you can find out that you're part of an angelic council, or you're part of a higher dimensional council that oversees the Galactic Federation or something like that, like, those are very powerful things to become aware of.
Oh yeah. And I've had so many experiences with this group called the Essenes also, and like, they have messages for humanity. I connect with all that is, like, they're very powerful messages. And that's such a good point to bring up, because it's not really recognized in Western medicine or culture to do these quantum things, quantum hypnosis. Like, it's kind of seen as, oh, well, that's kind of out there, or who knows if it's actually legitimate or whatever. And so it's like, we have to educate people on that, so they know that it can help them. Because like, the way I see it is, every day that someone doesn't know about it and they're left in suffering, like, I couldn't feel right about not letting them know about what it's going to do for them. Because like, I've seen what it can do for people and how that energy opens up in their life, and they start feeling like they love themselves again, and like you just see a whole different energy in them. Like, you know, they're last time you saw them, they look kind of depressed, or hey Sarah, or you know, run down or whatever. But then they do one of these sessions and all of a sudden they're dressing differently, they're glowing, they're excited, they're smiling. So it's like there's no doubt the power of this work and how amazing it really is. Welcome everyone. Yeah, Eric said depressed is deep rest. Yeah. Christo, are you on mute?
That's weird. I don't know what's going on, man. The guys be playing games tonight.
They really are.
It's so funny. But yeah, I was just saying, welcome in to Lula on the Instagram. Thank you for participating with the comments, and welcome in to my wonderful queen Rhonda as well. Thank you for being here. And yeah, you know this. So for everybody out there that is like really brand new or trying to really develop a true sense of awareness of what quantum hypnosis is, how does a session happen, what kind of things are required, and what is it that they could look to or look forward to when it comes to these type of sessions?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So the sessions, my sessions are generally very long. I don't like to rush anything about it. Like it needs to unfold in its own time, in its own way, in your own time, in your own way. And so we start the session out with you know, before the session even, we'll do a consult and like really just get an idea of like what are the challenges that you're going through in your life right now. What things are recurring energetic patterns that keep rearing their ugly head? What things are like really loud in your human experience right now? Like, what are the things that you're working on? What are the things that you're wanting to achieve? And we really get really clear and really real about all of that. And before the session even takes place, I want to make sure that whoever I'm working with is serious about like going as far as they will need to go to heal, like to put in that work and dedication and everything like that. Then I'll have them do some reflection beforehand, like journaling or answering a few questions. Then I will have them bring that to the session. On the day of the session, you want to make sure that you drink a lot of water, and that's a good reminder for everyone anyway, is like if you're doing a lot of energy work, period, make sure you're hydrating, and like that lets the energy conduct and flow better, because we're literally removing bioenergetic patterns from your energy field. There's distortions that happen in the energetic body weeks or months before it actually shows up as a physical ailment or a disease. So, yeah, I want to make sure that you are supported physically before the session. So, eating really like a balanced diet is good. Just having food in your stomach, like during the session, because like we're processing a ton of energy. And I know years ago, before I got into this work, I would always go the whole day without eating. And that was not good because, like, especially when you're working with energy, like, you have to keep yourself nourished. And, it, whatever you eat is not really a big deal because as long as you're blessing that with love and eating it in the energy of love, you're gonna do okay. But have something in your stomach on the day of the session. And then when you come in for your session, like either to my office here in Colorado, and I have people all over the world that come for sessions here in Colorado. I also have clients all over the globe online. It works just as good either way. If you look at Dolores Cannon's QHHT, she says it's only in person, but I've had so many profound experiences, and I practice a lot of transpersonal and optimal hypnotherapies, and it's all energy, it's all intention. So you absolutely can do a successful session and change so much online. It's just as powerful. And so on the day of the session, we'll talk a little more before the session just to kind of see, like, okay, did anything else come up? Like if Marcus was getting a session, I want to know, like, how would he word something so I can give him subconscious suggestions. His way of things, because he might say something. So that's one of, for the session, we discuss that, get everything ready. Then you'll be put in usually a reclined and padded position, so like a pillow or cushions, leaned back like you're floating. And then, yeah, I lead you into what's called a somnambulistic trance state. And that's the same state that you're in first thing in the morning when you first wake up, and before your eyes even open, and last thing at night as you're drifting off to sleep, before you actually fall asleep. And this is such a calming, relaxing state. Your conscious mind's out of the way. The part of your brain that is always trying to figure things out is like trying to figure out what's right or what's wrong or what's good or what's bad. That's out of the way. And you have access to those deepest, purest parts of you. And so then I'll bring in, like, okay, what energy are we looking at? Then we regress or we progress. We go to different timelines, different times, different spaces, different situations. different ages, different versions of yourself for that purpose of reclaiming those old fractured off versions of yourself and reintegrating all of that back in, and bringing love to that, and holding that in so much love, holding yourself in so much love, seeing other people in so much love, resolving soul contracts. So yeah, everyone has their own experience. Throughout the whole process, though, you will be fully safe. If someone was to go into the room you're in, you would pop right out of that state and be able to respond. So you're never out of control. You're never going to say something that you don't want to say, or do something that you don't want to do. It's just a really relaxing state where you get a sense of yourself that you don't always get in your everyday life. You're calm enough to make those changes on the deepest levels.
Well put. Very good articulation. Thank you for that. And
Yeah.
for all of you guys out there that are tuned in, feel free to drop your questions in the comments if you have any questions that are kind of brewing inside of you.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's a question about QHHT itself, hypnotherapy overall, or a question about maybe some of your quantum experiences, or metaphysical experiences that you've been having, feel free to drop them in the comments, and Derrick and I will definitely explore and give you the best answers we can to our capabilities.
Absolutely.
Man. One thing that's fascinating too is I want to touch on actually how you were touching on the flexibility of these kind of practices. And I very much am one of those kind of people too, where I don't see limitations or bounds when it comes to doing energy work, because energy is energy, and it can be transferred, whether it's in person or long distance, because energy is energy.
Oh, yes.
And I know for myself, I've done many Reiki sessions online. I've done light language activations online, guided meditations online with people. And I've also done a few of my soul origin, hypnosis like meditations with folks online as well. And I've had phenomenal results, like very phenomenal results. And I've actually just recently had one last week, and I was with my lovely love Rhonda in the comments, and she discovered her soul origin. Sarah as well, actually. Sarah in the comments. Sarah and Rhonda have both experienced my soul origin meditations online, and it was very successful and clarifying for them. So yeah,
you're a powerful channel, Krista. I've done several of your meditations and experiences, and they're just, you can tell you really put your heart and soul, like you kind of step out of the way and just you let yourself be a channel of all of that love and healing.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because I'm the type of person where if I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do something that's gonna potentially be able to make the most of someone's life, then I'm just gonna give myself up to the greatest will that spirit has for not just me, but for that individual. And that's really like
Oh yeah.
also not up to me to determine on the ego perspective. So, you know, the more that you can
Right.
let go of your own ego and let go of your own personal thoughts and feelings, especially as a practitioner, then that's when you really open your vessel up to be more fluid and more potent with the higher connection, to be able to
Yeah.
streamline through and deliver the medicine that that individual needs. And then the beautiful thing is, as a practitioner, you get to receive as well as the instrument.
Totally.
Sarah in the house. Oh, hold on. Let's talk a little bit here. So Sarah Broadhead here in the comments, our wonderful sister in the Sacred Kingdom. She is a newly developed QHHT practitioner, and she learned it from none other than our brother Derrick here. So Derrick, would you like to share a little bit about you know, what got you developed into being able to have this wonderful foundation that you have of
Yeah.
of programs, attunements, mentorship? I know you offer QHHT mentorship and certification as well as some others. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I teach quantum hypnotherapy. I teach all types of energy healing, psychic development, Reiki, all levels of Reiki. And yeah, Sarah, she's definitely a natural healer. And like, yeah, I just see like so much of how it was for me when I was learning it, like in her, like how she's gonna go out and help so many people. And yeah, for me, like it was something that evolved. Like I didn't wake up and say like this is what I want to do. It was more like I just started doing it, and every single client that I had, and like Sarah just said there, with the quantum hypnotherapy, how transformative it really is. Like, yeah, every session you're gonna have massive shifts, and one shift shifts everything. Like, because you can't see reality the same way again once you've learned those lessons and whatnot. So I was having all of these sessions that were just going, they were profound. Like, wow, like what, that was mind blowing. Like every time, like every freaking session I had, and they still are. And so I started working with a lot of Reiki practitioners that they had already done Reiki. And then I worked with some people that were like Christian mystics. And I taught a social worker, because like they all came to me for individual sessions. And then I had like a theme of all of these people at once in like early 2022. They wanted me to teach, and they wanted to learn it because they wanted to take these modalities and these frameworks to bring their, like, birth their own ways of doing it. And it's like, yeah, we're all kind of connected to that, but like with the training, like you just understand it on such a deeper level to where like you can do some profound things. And it's like it also brings in a lot of things from psychology and counseling and things like that as well, like of what's scientifically going to help someone have a transformation. But about the same time that people had started to ask me, that's when my teacher retired. And so I asked her, like, can I take over for you? And she said, I think the world needs it right now. And so then that's when I did everything I needed to do to set essentially the school up. And since then, we've had people all over the world tapping into this work now. And like the program itself it's a 150 hour training. So, that just gives you some perspective. That's, like a whole, it's a lot. Like, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, it's for those that, like, they really have a purpose to help the world in a big way, and that's why they're drawn to do it. It's like these people have really big hearts. They're really nice people, like everyone who learns it, because like I think you have to be to really want to be there for people in this way and heal in these ways. So that's kind of, how I got into teaching it. And Reiki, I just, I went up to master level in that. And, it's always been like who is organically drawn to me and wants to learn from me. And that's always been perfect because, like, I don't want to force anyone to do anything. Like, but if they're drawn to learn with me, then yeah, let's do it, because like we have work to do. Like there's a lot of beautiful stuff that happens in that space. Like the way I see it is I'm not going to be around forever, so I want to teach people everything I know. Like there is no gatekeeping. Like I don't gatekeep information. I can't stand that. Like, where it's like, well, like I'm not gonna tell you that because I'm better than you, is kind of the energy that comes across. And so I always want people to feel like I'm gonna give you everything I possibly know that could help you to be the best you can be, and because there's enough abundance for all of us, and there's no shortage of people that need this work right now, I guarantee you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I agree with you with that. That's for sure. And the more of us that are aware of how to do this, then the more that we can,
Yeah,
the more of us that learn this, then the more we can, kind of be the matches that spark that wildfire and just continue to light the other match. And then, the more of us that are, self-in-tuned and self-applicable to being in awareness of our higher self, that creates tremendous ripples in our conscious healing as a collective, as well as the activation, which then speeds up a new earth grid that we are anchoring through our being due to the calibration of our systems individually.
Yes. I have a poster rolled up in the closet that says, happiness is not reduced by sharing it. Like it's that candle, like a candle's light is not diminished by lighting another candle. Happiness is never decreased by being shared. It just increases. Like, I don't understand, like, how people prefer to be in those 3D constructs. That just isn't me. But, like, to think that there's not that kind of abundance is freaking crazy. Like, we're literally on this planet to experience that abundance, and there's more than enough for everyone. Like, if we really put our resources together, we have enough already right now for everyone. And
Absolutely.
there's enough space for everyone to practice and everyone to thrive. And it's like we're all in this thing together. So yeah, instead of fighting that other mentality, I just choose to focus my energy on those who do see things that way, and those that I can help. And sometimes I do help people that, because like I don't get to be the judge of, like, if you decide or if you're worthy of getting help. Like, that's between you and God, source.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I see it.
Oh man, beautiful perspective. Now here's a question for you, if you're open to it.
Yeah, of course.
How do you view source? Do you see source as everything, an individual? How do you see source?
Yeah, that's a good question. I see source as everything. Like, the energy that animates birds, that makes plants grow, that keeps our hearts beating and our lungs breathing, and the energy that connects all of us. And that also includes our higher aspects, like our guides and angels. And those are higher aspects of us also, and our guides and angels evolve with us. And I think all of it's a part of source, and it's just this like ever expanding force of love, like of infinite love, that it's this all-knowing mind, that this heart of infinite love that occupies the same space that we do. Kind of one of those things that the minute you try to define it, you lose it. But I think that's the best way I can try to describe it as I understand it. But I think there's aspects of it that, like, my human self will never understand. Like, in this body as a human, like maybe I have before and will again, but like I think there's parts of it that are supposed to be mysterious. Like, we're not supposed to know how it all works.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if we just knew everything, then it would take away from the point of the journey, right? We wouldn't be able to go through the experiences and the densities and what it's like to become newly aware of a new sense of being and have that extraordinary experience if we just already know everything. And
Right.
I feel like that's a lost awareness in this world, is understanding that we're on a journey and we descended into this third dimension for a temporary moment of experience. And
Yeah.
you know, that's one of those things that comes with these practices that we're speaking on, is tapping into that type of awareness. And when you tap into that awareness, there is so many things that can be beneficial for you. You can shed attachments, you can shed traumas, you can shed limited identifications that are keeping you in pain and suffering and ego trips. And there's so many other things. And, you know, this is why we share these practices, and we really devote ourselves to the service of providing ways that you guys can all become aware of who you authentically are when it comes to the uniqueness of your soul blueprint in the relation to the source or creator. And for me, there's really nothing more than that on this planet than to become aware of the self in that type of level, because it far exceeds any of the limited human limitations that we have had programmed and conditioned into our being. And for me, when I became aware of my Lyran lineage as a Lyran starseed, it completely changed my life big time.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I no longer saw myself as just a, you know, very limited bodily human being named Marcus. I started becoming aware that, whoa, I have a higher role and a higher purpose that I was designed with by the creator itself, that
Yeah.
I carry and that I embody and that I position in, that helps the whole entire creation, the whole entire universe be what it is. And then on top of that, I have these gifts that have been given to me to come to worlds, not even just this one earth, but come to different worlds and help other beings become aware of who they are, to evolve into their true self. I mean, when I started learning
Yeah.
that, oof, it was no longer that my life was only about selling drugs and getting high. It became way more expanded than that.
Oh, yeah. Totally. You literally, it's like you don't have to sell drugs anymore because you become money. Like, you literally, like money is energy, like time is energy, like it's energy is money. So like, and then you just enter that flow and help others enter that flow. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And yeah, just looking at both of our lives as a testament, it's like, yeah, this shit really works. Like, you know, when you fully devote yourself to, like, I think it's a decision. Like, I am going to heal. Like, I'm going to do what it takes to heal all this old, nasty programming and be who I really was meant to be and who I came onto this planet to be.
Yes. Oh, thank you on the Instagram side. The Aya13. She said, what a beautiful conversation.
Oh, thank you.
And then Lula is,
glad you're here, everyone.
And then Lula is sharing some wonderful numbers for us. She put 600 equals light body, 606 equals blueprints. So for anybody that likes to use number magic, there's a couple of things for you. Whew. So as we continue to talk about this wonderful, profound I'd like to, what are some things that you need to kind of be cautious of? And what are some things that you just want to be aware of and have proper boundaries and sacred security with when it comes to this type of practice?
Yeah, that's a really good one. So yeah, the most important thing about doing this kind of work is that you feel comfortable and safe, and that you really know who's going to be working with you, and like you really feel safe in their energy. Like that's so important, because you and the practitioner are essentially creating an energy field by, between the two of you. You're creating this space, and you never know what's going to happen in the space. And so it's really helpful to like really ask as many questions as you have. There's the only bad question is what you don't ask. Ask questions to your practitioner about, like, if there's something that's making you nervous, like just be upfront about it. Like, because I have so many ways to work with it, and most like people, like once they know that, there's different ways to work with it. But just make sure you feel safe, and like also just realize that it's not a race. Like healing isn't linear, and it doesn't have to be a certain, like you don't have to go too far too fast than what you're ready for. Like whatever you can handle today, that's a really good start. And there's always other opportunities to do more work. That's why I give people a really big discount on like my multi-pack sessions, because we work on different layers, and that way it's like I see them in integrity, really wanting to heal themselves, and then I help them out by doing a more affordable deal to help them. The other thing about safety is like to be aware of is a lot of times you might need to do some development work before you actually do the deep healing work. So like before you actually go in and heal a bunch of trauma, you might need to just spend some time getting familiar with being in that state and feeling safe in that state, and practicing kind of surrendering to the hypnotic state. But generally it's a really safe practice, and that's one thing I love about it. Is the biggest side effect of hypnosis is relaxation. Like it puts you into a rest and digest state. It takes you right out of the fight or flight, where your breathing rate and respiration slows down, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure goes down. It's a very healing state just to be in that state. So like if you didn't sleep very good the night before, and you went into a trance state for like 15 or 20 minutes, that would rejuvenate you to a pretty good extent. Like I do that often. Like if I wake up in the middle of the night and don't get as much sleep, then in between clients in the afternoon, I'll dip into that self-hypnosis state and come out feeling as good as new. But Yeah, and then also just make sure that you get really grounded before and after your session, because you want to make sure that, yeah, it's great, all of these things that happen in that realm, but you also want to balance your cosmic and earth energies as well, because it's like we are human, we are here to have this experience too. So I like to mix, make sure that people are really well grounded before and after the session. Um, Hematite is a great one to use. Like when you hold hematite, you can literally feel it kind of pulling your energy down to the center of the earth. Um, and then also, like when people get out of that state, I usually just have them look far out in the distance, to the furthest thing they can see with their eye, to just bring them back into this reality. But yeah, I think the most important thing is just go at your own pace and love yourself along the way. Know that it's just energy. Whatever's going to come up, it's just energy. It's just consciousness, and that energy itself is not going to hurt you, and you're in a safe environment. Hopefully, with someone you really, really trust that is knowledgeable, that can be your experienced, compassionate guide through this work. And that's what I work to teach people, is how to be that embodied, compassionate guide through the process.
Well said. Thank you for that, because it's pretty important stuff, especially when we are diving into such potent energies. One of the main things that you learn through shamanic work as well as other energy healing modalities is the importance of balancing grounding with your activation, because there are so many things that can come with that. But if you're ungrounded, you can heighten your anxiety, you can put yourself into extreme paranoia and even psychosis-like states.
Absolutely.
And you can actually also kind of re-trigger your traumas without the proper grounding for those traumas to release. So these are pretty important things, especially if you're wanting to dive into these as a new person, to really be aware of who you're doing it with, the energy that you're feeling and sensing, and honoring what you're feeling and sensing. And then also, like Derrick said, not rushing your process. You don't really want to rush healing, and you don't want to rush activations either.
I kind of won't let you anyway, but no.
I want to put it this way: and I'll put it this way: like if you're opening up a layer of energy, and you're still dealing with the memories, the traumas, and the wounds at the surface with that, and then it still hasn't been cleared or integrated or addressed in the proper way, then that can stay open inside of your layers and be there. And then if you go and open up more layers, then you're just opening up all these traumas and all these stored energies, and you're not properly releasing them, integrating and grounding. Then you can find yourself just opening up all these energies, and then next thing you know, you're just swarmed in all of these memories and stored layers and sporadic emotions and all these different things. So you really want to, like, when you really logically think about it, you want to take your time and honor your process, kind of like in steps, in a way of, the way I kind of see is like, you open yourself up, then you go through your releasing process, and then you want to make sure you nurture, give yourself affection, kind of help restore and recharge yourself. And that restoring and recharging and nurturing of yourself after releasing and opening up layers is then going to help you be able to more naturally and easily integrate your shadow, integrate the information, as well as the higher energies that are now coming through. And then you can really see and feel for yourself, okay, I feel like I'm really in this new version of myself now. And then you can take on life with a lot lighter and more clear version of yourself. And there is no rush, everything is in divine time.
Absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, it's just so important to really integrate as you go. And I think one of the most easiest ways to really make sure that's integrated is just focus on how you feel. And if you feel resistance, if you feel contrast or fear or whatever, it's showing you where to breathe love into yourself at, and where to create space and figure out what is this trying to show me or teach me. But yeah, it's definitely you're not alone in that. And yeah, it's not a rush whatsoever, because if you don't deal with it the right way and the thorough way, it's either going to explode out on other people or implode back in on you. And neither one of those is ideal. And just get the help you need and take the time you need. And I think that's not the norm. Most people, they perfectly unfold as they need to. I know my journey was like that, and yeah, I had some times that were really intense, but they were kind of experiences I needed to have to kind of knock myself down a level. And that's why I was they kind of won't let you go further than you're ready, because then those energies are just gonna kick you back to make you learn it again, until you actually learn it deep down and integrate it.
Yep, that's right.
It's really amazing.
So with that being said, what is one... Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, what's one tip or one recommendation that you have for the collective with helping the integration and that recalibration process after a session?
So ideally, during the session, that trapped emotion, which there's four main trapped emotions. There's guilt and shame, fear, anger, and things like that need to come out and actually be expressed. Maybe they've been kind of stuffed down into the black trash bag in your psyche for so long, but they want to come up and they need to come up, and they have a positive intention for you. Every part of you is trying to help you. Even the parts that are fighting, it's they're fighting because they're trying to help you. Like they each think they're right, but ideally in the session, what we're going to do is find an agreement of those parts and like give them the proper jobs that are going to help you. And I think really just, bringing that state into your body is so important. Like the integrated energy, like once you clear that older energy out, like make sure that you don't forget to bring in the energy that you do want to experience, and like give your subconscious those seeds of good things. Because you know how like when you buy a red car, then you all of a sudden see red cars everywhere all over town. That's your subconscious. Like your subconscious, it was never meant to go against you, but in our culture, they actually tried to program us to not listen and not use our innate intuition and subconscious. But like when you give the subconscious something to focus on, then it kind of attaches to that thing, and then it's going to look everywhere in your environment for things to support you in that. Like, because it knows you. Like, it knows what you want, what you need. So then it's like if you wanted to start a business, for example, it's like you set those subconscious suggestions for, I want to start a business, like I'm going to do this, like I'm going to help people. Well, keep saying that to yourself every day, especially first thing in the morning and last thing at bed before you drift off to sleep, because then your subconscious can actually support you in that, and it can actually put the right people in your path, because your subconscious is connected to source. It's like it's part of the collective unconscious, which is like if you put all of our consciousnesses in a big pot, that's the collective unconscious. And the subconscious is connected to that, so it's also connected to other people and like what they want, what they need. So it's like when you're intentional about it and your subconscious can connect to that, then now it sends information out through all of those other people. Like your clients are not your source of income, like source is your source of income. Your clients are channels of that income. But that's kind of, that's why it's so important to really, ground in at the end of the session, like, well, what the heck do I actually do I want? So I can actually give that my brain the right things and the supportive things, and like stay in that vibration and mindset that, and really surrender to that process. Like I think that's one thing, is everyone wants the results right away, but they don't want to do what they have to do to get the results and like the process leading up to that. But like if you go through the process, you're ahead of like 90% of people. And so like give yourself the love and grace to surrender into that process.
That's a really good one. It really makes a difference. When you're tense, you block up your channels. When you're soft and open, you allow your channels to flow. And with that, less resistance to your trauma is releasing, less resistance to the stored emotions releasing. So the more that you're soft, the more that you're open, the more that you're relaxed, the more swift and more fluid and easier it'll be for you to not only release energy, but also to receive. So that's definitely a very wonderful tip. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, I really
Yeah, absolutely.
I just learn all this wisdom from
So
working with my clients.
I think this will be a place to leave off for tonight.
Yeah.
This so
Yeah, I really had such a good time. Thanks for having me on the show,
oh my goodness.
Marcus.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor. And before we hop off of here, you know, give everybody the respect of how they can connect with you and all that you offer for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on Facebook just as my name, Derrick Ivey, and I am at dgtwellness.com, which is down in that little sliding bar. You can fill out a contact form on there. You can book a free call with me on there, like just to talk about like what's going on in your life and kind of seeing if any of these solutions are something you want to do or not right now. And I fully support you in that process of figuring out what's right for you and getting to know me to see if whether or not I'm the right person to help you on your journey. And then also you can sign up for the QSM training and book sessions on there also.
Okay. Yeah, let's try that again one more time.
Yeah, so I'll just start over in case the technology bleeped it out. So you can get a hold of me on Facebook, my name, Derrick Ivey. On YouTube, I put out a lot of videos and talks and meditations, and that's just DGT Wellness, one word. DGTwellness.com down in the like sliding bar. You can fill out a contact form, book a free strategy consult just to get to know each other and talk about your situation, kind of see what might be best for helping you heal and transform into what you've always known you could create. And then, yeah, just anytime I'm around, so I would love to connect. And also, you can email me at dgtransformationalwellness@gmail.com. You can also write on the site right there, dgtwellness.com. You can sign up for courses, book sessions, purchase multi-session packs, and I do hypnotherapy, readings, and energy healing and business consulting. Thanks so much,
Wonderful.
Christo, for having me on the show tonight. It was such a great time.
Absolutely, man. It was a really fun one tonight. And thank you for all
this. Yeah, very good.
Thank you for all this wonderful, informative information and really giving us the ins and outs of QHHT and these other wonderful modalities and experiences that you shared. Thank you so much, Derrick.
Yeah, thank you. Good night, everyone. We'll talk soon.
That's right. And that does it for this episode of the SaCrEd Light Community Nightcap, exploring QHHT with Derrick Ivey out of Colorado. Reach out to either one of us to book services, to connect, ask questions, and you can also get attuned and develop yourself through different programs with Derrick as well. And until then, you guys take care of yourself. Have a beautiful, blessed weekend. And make sure you guys ground yourself with these energies this weekend. There's a lot going on.
Yes.
We got the new moon. We got the 7-planet parade. Last one until 2040. And then on Saturday, we have Venus retrograde in Aries. So ground yourself, guys. I'm telling you, ground yourself.
Yes.
And with that being said, wholeness and balanced love.
Season to go when you know those crystal children. Back up in the mission. Off on the mission.
That's why we're here in third density. That's why we've got every option available. That's why Ross says, we've been there, we've done it. We know what it's like to be a collective, right? But here's what the divine wanted me to share. It says, sometimes you are so critical of yourself, so hard on yourself. Sometimes you say things that aren't right, and you think and feel them in your bones. You bring these things to life. You bring these things to life, believing they represent who you are.
Governs your circadian rhythm, your biological clocks and cycles, your hormones and chemical regulation due to the pineal and pituitary glands being connected to many of your vital. Your abundance is still blocked, it feels like. And then she said that was very helpful of you in that last segment. Okay, Leanne. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and navigate us into the root chakra because